Welcome back. Speed. I'm. Travel to the elm shore. And then we rest. Then we sleep. Sleep. Yeah, sleep. And then we kill a person. I think we're getting to the end, because if we keep following this storyline, we're gonna reach it. Which is fine, I think, because I don't really care much for the white thing, because we keep encountering a wall and how to progress there. And I'm more interested in the main storyline of the game. Rest. Ooh. The warning is cold and silent. You're upon the plateau of the birthing bell, and there is no sound, no wind. The sky is smooth, malted grey. The forest beneath the plateau, nothing more than a jagged black silhouette. Even the rock, the edge around you, it feels colder. The sun won't bled from it. Against the cold backdrop of the sky, you see the great birthing bell hanging from its arch of azure. Its surface is tarnished, and the shadows inside the bell are dark. Still, it seems to press down upon you, or simply sadly watching, as if standing above a grave formed from the table and remains of a mother's womb that now covers its surface. Something heavy in your hands, a bruise, gurgling, slick and wet. Yet that is all it is. You find yourself filled with fear. You don't know what to look at what you're holding. You don't want to touch it with your mind. It is all you can do not to cast. Before you is vacant flesh in the shape of a newborn, bubbles of saliva bunch at the mouth, expelled by its steady, gurgling breath. Its arms, legs, holding, head, lollying limp. No thought, no struggle, no desire to cry in process of pain. There is nothing from within. There is absence in your hands. Your hands tremble, shake. The silence is broken as the chimes on your wrists echo with the trembling. The chimes do echo in the thoughts of the mass in your hands. There is no soul within it to hear it. You rush it with your thoughts. The only emotions blanketing the plateau are the pain of the mother. The child breathes, its heart beats, and it makes no cry. The child feels light, empty. There is no joy in it, no fear, no thoughts at all. Yet in the hollows inside it, it breathes. A thing of habit, not life. You cannot move. Your trembling has subsided, and the birthing chimes on your wrist are as still as the child. The mother is crying, eager to see, begging to see the child. You feel a sudden spike of fear of being hunted. If you give the child to the mother, you will be blamed, and her anguish and rage shall fall upon you. She will not spare you or anyone you love, and this you are certain. But you did not cause this, you don't think you caused this, and the mother begs, her arms outstretched. The chimes sound once more as you give the child to its mother. The chimes fade, there is an eager gleam, the welling joy, the questioning, and you draw upon it deeply, letting the hope stream into her eyes, letting her ears fill with cries that you have heard countless times past from other children on the bell. You hear the laughter in the mother's voice, in streams of tears that run down her face. And with a practiced motion, you weave a life that will never be into her eyes and thoughts. She will care for the child as if it were whole, until you set her free. She will care for it until you find a way to heal what has happened, until your reality cannot be dispelled anymore. The still cradled, cradled beneath the weeping woman that birthed it, the child in her arms does not hear the cries of the mother, does not react. It is an empty thing that breathes and carries nothing within it. The chimes in your wrist lay still. They are bound to you like chains, never to sound inside a newborn's mind ever again. Wake up. Ooh.
Your mind comes bearing.
And his head bows and she raises her hands, cradling them slowly, till the chimes do not sound as she moves them. You feel a chill in the air as if the vault of your mind is growing too large for the thoughts within, and your breath is laced with the chill. To your horror, you hear her breathing ragged, hacking, but strangely steady, and you can see saliva bunching in the corners of her lips, becoming thick ropes of drool that cast themselves down her chin. There's a smell of blood in the air. New, wet, endless salt, sharp tang in your mind, coupled with she strives, her thin frame fights you, remains upright, yet she does not seem to be Exerting herself, she seems to be drawing strength from the horrid breathing you hear. Her clothes are wet, as if she was burning with fever beneath her tangled hair, and beneath her threadbare robes, as if she is giving birth. With a slow hissing take of breath, her head rolls back on her shoulders, her eyes pressed tightly together like the lids of a newborn. Yet past the lids you can feel the piercing stare, vacant, cold, horribly. You sense nothing from her, not a thought like the hellborn you held in her memory. You know if you try and pull her away now, she will vanish into herself and vanish from your thoughts, perhaps forever, and you terribly feeling that whatever connects the two of you will be cut. She is as helpless before you as a child, and her skin is cold. You touch the chimes, make the same hollow, dull sound as the strange nightmare.
I thought it was my doing. I thought that I had stilled it with my thoughts. The child. It was just a child. What was done with it? It was not the last hollow born on the birthing bell, and never again did I hear a child's cry.
You found the death within me once that many women have borne within them. I sought to serve women in need, and instead my hands ushered no life. What happened next, I bear the responsibility for.
The first birth was the deepest, the saddest. Nothing I could do could find the child's spirit, guide it to him.
I could understand what I might have done. I feared, I know, I could not dwell on that thought. The child was always there, always a reminder of what had happened, a marker. I made her care for it. I made them all care for it until I could find what I had gone wrong.
Little word of the outside world reached us. It was enough time for rage and pain and grief to guide hands. I feared what would happen to the children, what would happen to me. Every mother knows her womb may shed a stillborn, but these cold, soulless creatures, the parents wouldn't have understood, and fear of the unknown breeds violence. I held their minds within mine. I shaped and guided them as long as I could, and with each passing day, each new birth, the strain grew, and the more I felt my control slipping, the more I focused my thoughts. Eventually, even I succumbed to the power of my own illusion. I'd woven the threads so tightly that I could no longer see through them.
Then one morning, I heard funeral bells tolling in the village. The sounds of wailing rose through the mist. A mother had died, her mind so focused on the care of her hellborn child that she neglected even to feed herself. And with that, the illusion broke. The template saw the hellborn the way they were, not the way I wished them to see. By the end of the day, they began to look at me differently too. I did not understand what happened, but I knew enough to flee, and every suspicion that surfaced, every faded memory of what I'd done, I pressed it down, tucked away. My skill found me, and I did what was necessary. I regret the mother's death, but how much worse would it have been if I had not? Or otherwise, you could have sought outside aid for the children, or fled if you feared for yourself.
The choices you speak of are not always clear in crisis. Not in that heartbeat when the first mother begged for her child and I had to decide what I would give her. How could I have known where that path would lead, or that there were others seeking the same answers? And even so, that hesitation would have cost a young life. My actions only caused more misery. Worse, I took from an entire village, made them as empty and helpless as the children I sought to protect. But you feel it was right to hold and direct their minds, even knowing the cost?
You don't know the cost, then. We must often plot our course with
A
imperfect knowledge.
tapestry woven thread by thread, never seeing the pattern. So it is with the thoughts and dreams that move us, that shape our reality. Your words have soothed my mind in ways I did not expect. I thank you, Watcher, for the gift of your sight, for using it to guide me out of the prison of my mind. Let us hope it can also free you from the illusions Theos has woven around you.
Ooh. Dream and memory. It's done. We did it. Okay. Nope, nothing. What about over here? Let's go to the cave. What's in the cave? What's in the cave? Do we find what we need to find in the cave? Nope, not here. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. I'll be there. Yeah, this circle. Elle stands on the dais in the middle of the clearing. The ground is blanketed with leaves and various shades of rustling gold. Her eyes are closed and her arms folded in front of her. A gown of autumnal yellow hair hangs in front of her face. As you draw near, she lifts her chin and looks at you with hazel eyes.
Greetings, Estremor. You are among the ovates of the Golden Grove. High ovate, an ancient elm among poles and saplings. We have taken root in the same soil, and the others grow in my shade. Their roots nourish my soil. My branches give them shelter. Together, we grow.
She would stall her death row if she could. Fear and greed are her roots. They will not be easily arrested. It churns like an eddy in a storm. As to speak the question.
At least he chose someone who wouldn't wrap her intentions in trickery and lies. But what is a god that his voice should carry so far? And what are you that you should so eagerly obey? The gods only have dominion over what we seed, and you would seed matters of life and death to them.
Through work and wisdom, the greater the tree, the more fruit it may yield. They are vines climbing an ancient elm into the sunlight. May God sustain them should. As I say, the well of knowledge grows deeper by the season, and we are elders respected. If we're keeping to this metaphor, I think the gods make for older trees still. The gods are wiser and more ancient than even the new, and it's not for either of us to oppose them. It is a shame we could not come to one accord. Come on, do it, do it, do it, do it! Oh, he... Okay. Return to Barath. Okay. Zoom, zoom.
If those Delumgone are right, you and I are stuck with our awakenings. Not quite the news I was hoping for. Oh, the knowledge that a barely civilized bumpkin will share my mind and body for the rest of my life? That's kind of you to ask. I'd always believed that Isilmir was an ailment I could cure myself of one day. But now, to think she'll be around forever. Overstarched tunics, burnt toast, Rawatai sherry, those are not that bad. But having a stranger pop in and out of your head, it...
I've got plenty to figure out how to do it. You're taking orders. If you can't assert your authority over her, you'll never have it anywhere else.
It's strange. I've lived with her most of my life, and I've always seen her as an adversary. It should have occurred to me the day she stood up to my father. But there's something about being too close to a situation to see it clearly. It will be a relief to stop fighting her.
Is it something struggles with him, and the muscles at his face twitch, and his eyes roll back, and his skull exposing silver eyes. Sweats have been enough, so he sighs and looks back at you. That wasn't as difficult as I expected. I think deep down I've always hoped to find a solution elsewhere. When I was a child, I always thought my mother would come home with a mysterious cure, or that my father, without knowing it, could somehow send her away, just as he called her forth. I can't pretend that I didn't spend years of my arcane training hoping that one of my instructors would have the answer somewhere in his grimoire. When I joined the Lighting here, I hoped and believed that with enough loyal service, I gained the ear of someone in the organization that could help me. Even when I met you and realized your unique talent, I hoped that you might be able to reach into my soul the way I've seen you do with so many others. I've been looking for someone else to solve my problem, and now I realize that I've got to face it my own.
That's a charming way to think of things. And not an unpleasant one either.
Okay.
That reminds me of something else the Delumgone said. About the gods not being real. Yes, I suppose so. Still, I can't help but worry at the state we'd be in if that was somehow true. If there were no power guiding us in this life and shepherding us to the next. I hope you're right.
Okay, and then we go this way. Then we go to Elm's Reach. We got the other ones to do. So we go to Elm's Reach. I think I'll do all the god stuff. Zoom, zoom. You find again yourself on the road, squinting into the distance. You see a short, pale figure waiting for you. At first, you think it's another vision of the Archer, but then you notice the figure's skeletal frame and Richter screen. He stands in front of another skull gate, and the way leads down, not onward. He beckons you to approach. The Usher, gatekeeper of the shard, not here for us, I hope. I'm not done just yet. Behind you is a woman, her skin milk pale against her black hair. She wears a suit of armor so dark it seems to suck in the light of the stars. The road winds up a mountain behind her.
A toll, traveler.
She holds out a hand and holds the traveler. And the pallet knight. Do we pay the pallet? It comes into her hand and she closes her fist around the coins. You feel a small weight added to your purse. The lord of this road demands a toll of all, but he lends generously. That all might travel his road again. Behind her the usher grins his litless smile and waits. The road bores into the mountain and you find yourself in a gigantic cavern. The ceiling curves up and away and it's dotted with moisture. In this distance the shining beads look like stars clustered and scattered in constellations. The usher and the pallet lead you up a trail carved into the edge of the cavern. Two identical cave mouths wait up ahead, and you follow the usher to one of them. Standing at the edge and gazing down, you see an endless, ever-changing plain bisected by a road. Only then do you realize that you are no longer on the road. As you follow the road to the point where it disappears below, you realize that you're standing in one of the eye sockets of a massive skull. The usher points to the road. Archdruid Rashton appears below you. He's just as you remembered him, stern and smooth-skinned, yet with each step along the road he grows, swelling with blood and essence. His heavy steps become slower and slower until he stops altogether. His distended body fills the path completely.
You met a dwarf traveling this road. What did you do?
He lived on blood of others. I saw justice
There
done.
is no justice in the tides that move the seas, nor in the seasons that nurture and slay all growing things. There is no morality in the forces that move the world. They are inevitable, products of their own self-perpetuating motion.
And swell on by ruptures. The effect is like a dam bursting, ghostly figures as hazy and indistinct whisper spoke. Jill like some tumble. Directs your attention to another figure down the path. This time you see higher, and as follows the road, movements become slow and erratic.
You found a tree that had lived for centuries. Its roots were deep, and its boughs sheltered many. Why did you cut it down?
It was unnaturally consistent. Trees don't belong in the road. I thought that if I cleared the tree, maybe the lord of the road would grant me a bit.
The Lord of the Road does not trade favors. He grants passage and extracts his toll. Nothing more. But it may be that in serving his interests, you further your own.
Petrifies below, and the shimmering leaves of her hair blow down the path. You seek another who has lived his lives on the brink of the cycle. He sits on the inside of the wheel, observing its revolutions. With each life he is plucked from the stream. Return to her. Why do you hunt Theos? For answers, he understands what has happened to me.
Answers are circular, Watcher. To find them, you must begin with the right question. The question is not what Theos has done, but whom he serves.
One of many questions I have, really, but it's certainly a start. I thought Theos self-directed. What master commands our grim friend? Yeah, Wodica. We already knew that. She desires an escape from her own circle, power without decline. Theos has removed thousands of souls from circles so that their essence might empower her. You must stop her and you must return them to the circle. What end would it serve and send us on? Why does we even need Theos' help? What end would it serve to send the souls back into the cycle? Attending to these souls is a question of stability, Watcher, of maintaining the natural order of the world, the ebb and flow of essence. A change was monotonous. Surely there's a better. As battered, burning things, you mix soured wine with flesh. The kindness you seek lies in giving them a new beginning, not in shackling them to this life. Exile spells would be able to destroy them. The cycle is merciless. It is not wasteful time, and the endless procession of rebirths eventually grind souls into dust. But until then, they must pass from the world and return to it. They continue moving advance, so change was monotonous. Surely there's a better option in it. The illusion of revolution is merely part of the non-cycle and a painful one. True change is structure, geometry. It is practical cycles within cycles, 1,000 gears spinning and moving the universe by degrees. The cycle of Kith is a thing of balance. Likewise is the cycle of gods. We rise and fall in favour of mortals, only to fall and rise again. But Woedica seeks the power to place herself outside this cycle. She would root herself and grow to the detriment of others. I think I understand what you're telling me. I only show you the motion of the universe. Watch I don't see what this has to do with me. Play our spells are damned to divert water from a stream. The flow of thousands of souls will shape the world you live in. Watch it. It will also shape the world your soul returns to in its next lives. The gods guide souls through the cycle of death and rebirth, but error is the domain of mortals. We stand aside, weights and counterweights. Were one to alter the tides of Kith, we all would follow. We would tip this world from its axis. That is why Woedica directs a mortal to do her bidding, and why any who would stop ours must be mortal as well.
No mortal can survive the descent into the pit. But there are souls on the burial isle that are pledged to me. I will grant them to you, and they shall bear you down safely, as well as light the way beyond.
Return them to the cycle, Watcher. Promise that you will, and I shall give you power befitting a champion at death. Accept my favour. However, I will demand this decision as your due. I collect from all mortals on time. I promise to return the souls to... You know what? Return to the cycles. It kind of makes sense for me being a death kind or whatever it is. It's been so long since we've created our character, but so be it, Watcher. Do not forget your promise. And I Baraspone, when at last you open your eyes again, you are standing in heaven filled with brass power. Descend the pit. I'm gonna just descend the pit, I think. What's this? I'll collect that. We got that. Okay. What resolve? Petrify. Okay. Yeah. Let's go to the pit. To the pit. Where's the pit? Actually, we'll end the episode here. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, let me know in the comments below. Though, subscribe and small the notification button to cover today, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.